Well, it would certainly seem as if Georgia heard me talking about Texas Tech and decided to say something about it with this dominating and wow, memorable win against Kalen DeBoer and Alabama to retain their SEC championship. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Has Georgia proven to be the definitive number 3 team as we head into the college football playoff selection committee's rankings for Selection Sunday and the number 3 seed? Do you think that this performance against Bama should move them into number 2? Or do you think that Texas Tech and its run of beating up on opponents by 20 or more in 12 games so far this season is good enough to move them into the 3 spot or even the 2 spot? This is contingent on one of the 2 teams that is undefeated left in college football in Indiana, Ohio State will lose tonight. But I would need to see a dominating performance by one of those programs against the other one to move them down further than 2. I contend going into this season that Georgia is the king of the SEC until somebody takes it from him. Look for all the world like Alabama was in a spot to do that when they went into Sanford and became the first team in 6 years to get a W down there. Got to go back to October 12th, 2019. Will Muschamp, South Carolina. Since then, Georgia's reeled off 2 national championships, and they are back-to-back SEC champions going into college football playoff for back-to-back years in its 12-team format. Going to join Ohio State there, going to join Indiana there, hoping to join with this dominating performance also Notre Dame. And I think there's an interesting discussion to be had about whether or not we want Alabama in this thing. For the time being, I don't think Alabama should be in the college football playoff with 3 losses. I don't see it, man. You got the loss to Oklahoma, which is a good team, not a great team. You've got the loss to Georgia now, right? And I'm looking around and I'm asking this question honestly. Do we really believe that we should not be looking at that Florida State loss that they took to open the year? Because I damn sure think we should. Mike Norvell is on that chopping block with anybody else. Florida State come up with the money to fire him. They just could not. And that was supposed to be Florida State's coming out party. Turns out, no, it's as bad as Alabama can be. And in this game, it was very clear that Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb were going to put this thing on Ty Simpson's arm, just like they did in the game in Sanford. And Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart said, bet, if you think he can beat us with 2 safeties back, we're willing to take that. And they could do nothing with it because as it became clear that Alabama was not going to run the football and run it well, Kirby and Glenn just started dialing up blitz after blitz, exotic pressure after exotic pressure, simulated pressures. I mean, it's as close to Sam Darnold seeing ghosts as I've ever seen from Ty Simpson. He did not know what was coming, and when it was on him quicker than you can say snap. Like, we're talking about an Alabama offense that had negative 3 yards rushing. Georgia had 3 sacks. They held Alabama to negative yards rushing. I don't give a damn if your offense isn't built around running the football. You still did it. Let's take how many times Alabama ran the football today. They ran it 16 times. Their quarterback got sacked for negative 28 yards. It is the most dominating defensive performance that we've seen in a postseason matchup since Ohio State destroyed Oregon. And it was like negative 28 yards rushing in that game because that Ohio State defense was that good. And that defense won the national championship. This is the kind of defense that Georgia has put out once again. You heard it on the call. Kurt Herbstreit's going, is Nakobe Dean out there? Is Trayvon Walker out there? Right? I'm thinking to myself, yeah, dog. It feels as if the same things happen every year. They reload. They get better. And one of the reasons that Georgia gets better is because they have been playing the kind of football that Ohio State's been playing this year for the last 5 years. They don't play more snaps than they have to. They play complementary football, and they're not interested in airing it out, scoring a bunch of points. They're interested in getting a 2-score lead and then sitting on you because they can. When Alabama gets a sudden change, the first thing that I think isn't, okay, the tide, pun intended, is about to turn. It's more like, he can't move the damn ball anyway. So, what are we doing here except delaying the inevitable? And that is what it feels like watching Kirby Smart's defense. He is inevitable. If they stay in the ball game, they got a shot to not just step on you, but to make this embarrassing. And what's really cool about Gunnar Stockton, or at least early in the season that he hasn't had to show lately here in the last few games, is they got a quarterback that can dig them out of a hole. And it's Stetson Bennett. They had that too. Carson Beck to some degree. The knock on Carson Beck is that he would play better in the second half than he would in the first half. Some of this I think is true, but also if you're Carson Beck, you're looking at this Georgia team that you left and you're moving on from because Gunnar Stockton came into this game and ended up winning it for them. And now he's 2-0 in the SEC championship. Kalen DeBoer is no longer undefeated against Alabama. And we're talking about Alabama having to fight for its life in the college football playoff, where I think the committee is going to do what I would do, which is make this easy on myself, right? I know that I'm going to put Texas Tech in here. I know that I'm probably not going to put BYU in here. I know that there's some people that believe Alabama should be here, but I don't. Miami and Notre Dame both could get in, is how I'm looking at this, because you got Ohio State, Indiana. You've got one Big 12 team again in Texas Tech. You've got your Georgia SEC champ. You're going to get Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma in there, Oregon. And then you're going to have a fist fight, right? And because we didn't see BYU really up in this thing and get two teams in the Big 12, we're having this debate about whether or not Miami and Notre Dame should be there when the head-to-head should absolutely matter, and they should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame the whole time. It might be that they get to fight it out on the field. So what this really means is who's going to get the 9 match, because if it stays the way that it is and you just slot somebody else in, say Miami or Notre Dame, into that 9 spot, they get Oklahoma on the road. That would be fun. This is still coming down to a committee that gets to manipulate the rankings, and I don't like it. Like, this is one of the reasons I want a 2014 playoff. I want a 2014 playoff because I want everybody in that's supposed to be in. I'm looking at 10-2 Vanderbilt, 9-3 Texas, 10-2 Utah, 9-3 USC, 9-3 Michigan, all losing out to 11-2 Tulane, right? To perhaps 11-2 Virginia. We'll see, right? It doesn't seem fair, and I want the national championship to be fair. I want everybody in there that should be in there. I don't believe in you moaning and complaining because you don't think teams are good. You walk in any one of those locker rooms and you tell those 105 players that they're not any good. You go right ahead. You see if you walk out of that locker room alive. You walk into a locker room at Vanderbilt and you tell Diego Pavia and his Padres that, and his compatriots that great season, best season in school history for Vanderbilt. We understand. First time that y'all had a winning record at SEC play in over 3 decades, and you got a Heisman finalist, not a Heisman winner. But you know what? You're not good enough to play for the national championship. Sorry. Man, I would cuss on this show, but kids watch this show, and they watch it with their parents. And I mean cuss, I mean the hard words, like the words that we just don't say out loud because we go to church tomorrow. Have it out with your pastor, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing that I'd be thinking about with this. If you are the kind of person that really wants to stick your foot in the ground and tell me you don't like the extension of a playoff because you don't think that's what college football is about, scratch your ass and get glad, because we play for money. We play for championships. We play on television. We want more football. We like football around here. We like watching football being played. And you know what? We like the opportunity to not somehow maybe get the Cotton Bowl matchup we want, or somehow maybe get the Rose Bowl matchup we want. Dial it up, dog. Now this committee gets to put their finger on the scale, and I don't like that with the rankings and the seedings, but somebody got to do it. Even as we look at the FCS, it's got a 2014 playoff, and it works just fine. Every team that wins a conference championship automatically gets in. Then you get your at-larges. Then the committee gets to seed the teams. And usually the same damn teams end up playing for the championship anyway. But you know what we get to say at the end of that? Everybody got an opportunity to show what they got. I don't know how you got to be in America living this long and not believe in getting the opportunity to just show. Give it a chance. Give somebody a chance. You know what? I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sand Springs ain't been nobody to nobody for a very long time. Just a 6A2 school. I watched Sand Springs win a state championship against Choctaw last night, and I was thrilled for them because they got a chance to go win it. Didn't nobody look at the Sandites and say they wasn't no good? Now, the record is what the record is, but the point remains. You get in, You go see what you got. They do this in the Texas high school football playoffs. They start playing in November. They don't finish until January. Well, I don't want it to wreck the calendar. It won't. You know how I know it won't? Because there's millions of dollars on the line, and everybody wants those games to get their shine. Now, if you are the kind of person that does not want to watch Tulane play Ole Miss, see yourself out. Go watch basketball. It's a soft sport. You sound like a soft person.